Hey everyone. A couple days ago, I finished watching the next episode of Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue, Truth Discovered. It was a really good episode. I'm a little rusty on the details because it was a couple days ago. I just started a new job and long hours. Anyway, um, Oh yeah, one of the things I wanted to talk about was the previously on segment. For whatever reason, in most of the early episodes of Lightspeed Rescue, excuse me, they for some reason focus heavily on Vipra's stupid little go kart Viprari thing. I have no idea why that was so important to keep in so many of the previous Leons, but this one like completely changes it. The entire previous Leon is all about Ryan, the Titanium Ranger, who we don't know is Ryan yet, or do we? I can't remember now. Anyway, let's see. Starts off, the Rangers are talking to Captain Mitchell. Mitchell explains how, let's see, the Titanium Ranger is Ryan, his son, and we go into a flashback showing, let's see, he's driving, it's rainy, it's dark, then suddenly this truck, this bit like trailer truck without a trailer, comes zooming by, and he's forced off the road. The car, boom, and somehow he grabs his two kids who are in the back seat of him. Let's see, he grabs onto a root. He's holding Dana. Ryan is holding on to his ankle. Oh yeah, the kids are extremely young, like maybe 4 at the oldest. So it makes sense that like Ryan being taken by the bad guys wouldn't remember this event very clearly, and neither would Dana. Anyway, a weird thing with the truck they're driving or car, whatever, is like immediately when it hits the ground, boom, huge explosion, which I don't think is accurate to how like a car would actually react to falling that distance. I think it would more just kind of like smash. An explosion might happen later if there's like a leak or something that's flammable. Like I have seen a car explode before. Um, it's not a big explosion like this. This is a big, Koichi explosion, and I won't get into that. Anyway, wait. Ryan is slipping. Mitchell can't pull himself up, and then suddenly this ghost thing appears in front of him, and I don't know why I find it kind of funny, but also kind of freaky and creepy when Mitchell yells, "Go away!" I, I don't know. Like I wouldn't know how to react in that situation. Like I'm hanging off the side of a cliff, a ghost devil monster thing shows up and is like, "I can help you." Weird. Anyway, Diabolico goes away. Then Ryan falls. Mitchell yells, "Save him!" And Diabolico zips up, saves Ryan, and he's like, "He's mine now. You'll see him when he's 20." And then poof, disappears. And let's see, I've read like criticisms of this like whole situation specifically. One of the things a lot of people say is, "Oh, it sure is a coincidence Diabolico was there." Um, how do you know he wasn't like a part of this? Like, I'm trying to think of the word. Like, how do you know he wasn't expecting this to happen? Or, like, he was. I can't think of the word that I want to use. Like, he knows it's going to happen and he was prepared for it, that he was preparing for this moment. Or did he have a hand in causing it? Like that truck, we don't know who was driving it. There's no information. Like, it's possible that it was just a truck who was reckless and not paying attention, and Mitchell wasn't paying attention on the road either, and that is actually a thing in the episode. Anyway, so yeah, I've heard fans say that like it doesn't make sense for Diabolico to be right there at this time, and also like why is he like just a specter of himself or whatever, but I don't know. And it reminded me of a lot of something in Samurai, and there was the exact same criticism for a very similar situation. Uh, I think it was in the episode Broken Dreams. Mia is in Dayu's memory, and Dayu is one of the villains, she sees her memory. See, in Dayu's past, she was human, she had a husband, Decker, and their house is on fire. They escape the fire, but just barely, and Decker is dying. She calls for help, and then almost immediately, the bad guy Serrator pops up, and he's like, I can save you, and then he turns both of them into Nylok monsters. And a bunch of fans were like, oh, it sure was a coincidence Serrator was right there, that doesn't make any sense, and it was especially strange then, because that one, especially, Serrator was definitely involved with the fire, or at least it's implied that he had some hand in it, because of the way he shows up, like just poof, right out of nowhere as soon as she calls for help. I don't know if there's some rules or something with demons that you have to like ask for help for them to trick you into doing something, maybe. It's that kind of a Faustian bargain trope. Anyway. Oh, speaking of tropes, this episode is like really melodramatic. Like, it's a thing that if this was a Sentai show, it'd be fine. Like, after Mitchell tells a story about, how Ryan is the Titanium Ranger, he was raised by Diabolico, that's why he's a bad guy. Dana runs off to find him and talk to him, and they have this whole exchange, and like, hearing the dialogue as an adult is very, very weird. It's, extremely melodramatic dialogue. It's a type of thing, when I was watching it, one of the things that struck me about it that was kind of funny was if this was subtitled, like, a Sentai show, and these were the subtitles, what they were saying here, I wouldn't think anything of it. I'd be like, yeah, it's normal. It's good. Because I'm so used to, in Sentai, things are far more melodramatic and, like, played, like, serious and straight, even if the dialogue is, like, I'm trying to think of a word for it. I'm terrible with words today for some reason. Like, it's kind of Shakespearean in its own way. Like, it's very kind of pompous sounding. I don't know if that's quite the right word. Anyway, the Rangers show up. Ryan runs away, and then the Rangers go after him. But then Vipra shows up with this monster, and the monster is really weird. And I'm kind of surprised they used it here because it kind of feels like a waste of kind of a cool monster. It's like a snake monster. Then he has an arm that's a snake, and the arm has its own voice. That was really funny. Like, the head is like, Rangers, and then the little hand is like, Rangers. I don't know why, for some reason I thought that was really, really funny. Anyway, they immediately kill the monster. Jinxer shows up. Yeah, grow! Throws the card at it. They have a weird way of growing monsters in Lightspeed. The monsters blow up into, like, little bloody chunks. Ugh. And then Jinxer throws a card into one of the chunks. A bunch of, like, bat things rebuild the monster, I guess? I don't know, it's weird. Anyway, the monster grows. His face changes. I don't remember. Was that a thing in Go-Go 5? Like, was this a two-parter? Like, they destroyed the monster, then in the second episode, the monster comes back looking different? I don't remember. Anyway, when the monster changes, its face kind of resembles Titanosaur from Lost Galaxy, the dinosaur dragon that Captain Mutiny's castle was on the back of. So anyway, he's immediately blown up because it doesn't matter. He's not the focus of the episode. We just had to shove him in because of Sentai footage, and it's Power Rangers. We need to have a monster. Anyway, Ryan has wandered to, or intentionally gone to, the site of the accident where he was taken by Diabolico. He's just standing over the ridge, looking down, pondering to himself, and then the camera does this really cool spin around, and we see Mitchell approach from behind. You don't remember, or was it, you remember, don't you? And, or, crap, what does he say? You don't remember, don't you? And then, oh yeah, then Ryan has kind of an awkward line here. I don't need to remember. I've been told. I always thought that was a really weird line. Even as a kid, that line just sounded so strange to me. And anyway, let's see. So, he's saying, you let me fall, but you saved Dana. I tried to save both of you. And then Ryan's hurt enough and attacks Mitchell, and they fall off the side of the cliff. And they grab onto this protruding root, just like in the past. And let's see, Ryan's hanging onto Mitchell's leg, just like in the past, and this triggers his memory, and he remembers it clearly what happened, and so he climbs up. He's holding onto the root. Mitchell's hanging onto the root. The root starts to fall out, and Mitchell says, "It won't support both of us," and then sacrifices himself. He drops. He lets go. He's falling. Ryan takes his morpher and leaps down, catches him. He's able to break the fall. They both survive, but he's not quite sure exactly what's going on. He's still confused about this. Like, he has his memory back, but does he know if it's really what happened? Are these guys really someone he should be with? And he chucks the morpher on the ground, leaves, and he goes back to that Diabolico. He confronts him, questions him, and oh yeah, earlier on there was a scene I forgot to talk about where, let's see, I'm trying to remember now when that was. Anyway, at some point earlier in the episode, he's with Diabolico, and Diabolico is trying to reinforce his hatred of his father, telling him that he never cared about you. He let you fall. I saved you. And then there's a close-up of Ryan's face, and I really love this because it made me think about, in the older Power Ranger seasons, like Mighty Morphin and, Zeo Turbo, we'd have if someone was under a spell or something, there'd be a close up on their face, and this was kind of a cliche of Power Rangers is their eyes would glow. I don't know if that actually, or it was in the Turbo movie, I think, right, where Jason and Kimberly's eyes glow red when they turn evil, and back in Mighty Morphin, Tommy's eyes glow green, and then there's when Billy is possessed to steal the Dragon Dagger. Did his eyes glow? He had that little lightning crown of thorns on him. That was weird. Anyway, Ryan, when the camera zooms in on his face, his eyes don't glow. And I thought that was kind of effective in a way. It shows he's not under a spell, he's not under, some magic influence or anything like that. He really believes Diabolico. So at the end, it's kind of important when he's confronting him, he's questioning, he doesn't know who to trust. He doesn't trust Diabolico, he doesn't trust the Rangers, he doesn't trust Mitchell. So he leaves, but the demons don't really seem to care that much. They're like, oh well. And Diabolico, he raised Ryan for, well, I don't know, 16, 17 years? At least, or at most, whatever. He doesn't seem too broken up about this. I know he doesn't actually care about Ryan, he just sees him as a weapon, but it's still kind of weird that, he doesn't really bat an eye. Not that he could, because the suit doesn't have movable eyes, at Ryan leaving, and he's just like, ha ha ha, I'm still in control here. Diabolico's a weird character, kind of a deep, creepy character. I really like Diabolico. Anyway, great episode, really good one. Builds up, interest in the Titanium Ranger. He has a cool backstory. It's just a fun episode, really. And there's a couple of interesting things about it. Let's see, on the Ranger Wiki, I read that the little robot, this little round green turtle-looking thing from Go-Go 5, shows up for a quick shot in Lightspeed Rescue. I can't remember too much about that robot. I watched all of Go-Go 5 a few years ago, and I don't remember that robot at all. I remember him when I saw him. I was like, oh yeah, that little robot. He didn't leave much of an impression. And since Lightspeed didn't really have a need for a robot, I guess maybe they thought that would be a little too futuristic sci-fi. They were trying to keep it more grounded for this series with Power Rangers fighting demons. Anyway, they just used him as set dressing, and it works. He blends in. According to the Ranger Wiki, it only shows up in one other episode. I think it would have been kind of a neat thing to see it there. It looks like it could be computer equipment or something, right? Trying to think if there's anything else I want to say about the episode. I don't think there is. I've been going for about 15 minutes. I think this is a good length for this little recap thoughts on things. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on this episode. See ya.